We going?
Yep.
I don't have my water. I'll be fine.
Red, 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 red. Yep. We can see them all now. Oh, we got new cameras.
Oh, are they all the same?
Yep.
Oh, no, this is going to be high def.
Super high def.
Let me go put on. I need to start wearing makeup. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And so I'm watching Yellowjackets, Season 3, Episode 9.
How the story ends.
Did you like this?
All right, in the first place, I feel that we have to talk about the two things that we absolutely didn't talk about last week, which was adult Shauna, losing her goddamn mind, biting a chunk out of Melissa's arm and feeding it to her. We totally didn't say that at all.
So, if anything, I think the losing her goddamn mind is her resting state.
Of course.
And she has periods of...
But it came fully to the surface, I guess. And then the other thing is we didn't actually discuss that that Jeff, reconnected with the Joels and his whole speech about, Shauna being fucking crazy and what have you only ever slept with boring women? That was top notch, no notes. So we totally neglected to mention that, and both of them do have, follow through into this episode.
I, saw a review. It's from a guy that I actually like. I won't say anything because I'm dogging it,
yeah.
But, he was he keeps complaining about the Jeff and Callie part where he's like, this is a waste of our time.
No.
And I'm like, you mean the best part of the episode? That's the show that I want to watch.
It's not a waste of time in the first place because part of the first 2.5 seasons has been Callie kind of coming to grips with her mother because that is a thing girls do.
It is so fascinating watching them find themselves and each other without her, with her gone.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. And so that's kind of the thing that I think is I don't want to be like a dick about it, but it is kind of something that a man can't understand. You reach a certain age as a girl and you have to come to grips with the person that your mom is. It's like your dad is I mean,
it happens for boys and dads, and yeah,
it does, but it's it's a different animal. There's so much how society treats women and how you treat yourself, how your mother treats you, how you treat your mother. There's a lot wrapped up in it.
In the original version of Snow White, it's not a stepmother.
It's her actual mother.
It's the mother that wished for her.
And it's also one thing that's interesting is we've met some of the other girls' parents. We have never met Shauna's parents. We've never even seen Shauna's mother because it's also about your mother's relationship with her mother. There's a lot going on, and I think that's really interesting. And so, in my opinion, these scenes with Jeff and Callie alone, it has all of its own weight to it, because not only are they doing that thing that's sort of toxic...
But there's also a relief.
There is.
There's sort of a whimsy.
Yeah, they both are no, she's nuts, right? We know she's nuts.
I mean, they got high, and he was ladies who lunched, kicking his leg,
I can't.
Warren is such a... Congratulations, too. He just got married.
It's so good. No, the thing I was going to say is that, there is sort of a toxicity in a daughter and father relationship where you gang up on the mom. That is definitely a thing that can happen. And there are, underpinnings of that. But in addition to all the work that Callie is doing, trying to figure her mom out and where she fits into this relationship, she and Jeff are actually growing closer in a non-toxic way.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think Shauna was preventing that?
I don't think on purpose.
Yeah.
I just think the nature of Shauna is she kind of sucks up all the air in the room.
Well, and also I think that, he was kind of guilty by association.
Maybe a little. I mean, also there is just teenage girls are kind of a headache. So, I mean, it's two things.
I watched this whole episode very Trisha Paytasly, where it was very
what does that mean?
I had my chicken sandwich.
Okay,
and it was very huh? Oh. And so I keep coming back to my whole point, which is that I enjoy this show largely because I enjoy watching these actresses act.
Yeah.
And anytime, and frankly, because I found the plot of this episode to be very frustrating, but I also was enjoying it so much. And I realized because I was getting to just watch them act, getting to watch them just be together, and there was hijinks, and there was moving things around.
Also, not for nothing, they're all amazing, but actually having Hilary Swank in the mix is
there's a second where I thought we were gonna I couldn't tell who was going to die in that one scene.
So I unfortunately knew
Okay.
By accident. I saw an Instagram post and I was like, well, fuck.
That happened to me with Lottie, which I have a soft spot for Lottie. That's no secret. It's no surprise to anyone. I'm a little bit bummed that she died off screen.
Yeah, we're still not done with that.
Sure,
I mean,
hope,
she's definitely dead, but we're still not done with that.
But it's like, because Natalie and
spoiler alert, it's Van
had their like scenes with the younger version of them on the plane, and even some of the previous people like Jackie, and even like early favorite of mine, Laura Lee.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't seen her in season 3, but she was in season 2.
Yeah.
And there's it feels odd to me that there's like, I feel like the ghost of Lottie would loom over this in a way that it's not.
Like, in a way that actually I would imagine, I'm a little surprised Lottie hasn't been in all of them. Yeah. Like, as the usher across.
She was in the dream in the cave, but I don't know. And the other issue that I do have, and I've said this a few times, and I think people don't fully understand what I mean, and I frankly don't know that I understand what I mean, but I don't know that I get what the show is yet. Like, I don't know that because it's not about, like, a lot of shows are linear and it's about working towards a goal or working towards an end, and I don't know what the end goal of this show looks like.
Sure.
That's not a problem, but it does sort of affect how I approach certainly these conversations, because young Natalie is my favorite in these episodes.
Sure.
And there's
she's the only one who's like doing anything.
Sophie is so fantastic. She really is going to be one of the breakouts of this.
She had like 3 movies that came out last year. We've got to watch.
Apparently we need to see Companion.
And I want to watch Heretic as well.
Oh, right. That was apparently good too.
Yeah.
Scream Queen in the making. Mm-hmm. Anytime that I'm watching some of the flashback scenes, I'm like rooting for her, and then I'm like, oh,
she's dead. Well, that's
not really a problem, but it sort of, like I said, I mean, do you think this is a show where everyone's going to die? And they're going to get on that plane and go to Shambhala or whatever, like the Lost?
I mean, so far we haven't seen them arrive anywhere. We've just seen them on the plane. I don't know. That would be interesting. We got a couple of comments on last week's episode that were like, if there are 5 seasons, which this has still not been greenlit for season 4.
Which is crazy, because I know the season has been mixed. The reception has been mixed.
Yeah, but that's not where you cut it down. Like, we obviously need more.
But it's also doing well.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the charts. Yeah. Both it and Yellowjackets are on charts.
White Lotus
are on charts that are kind of hard to get on.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that's the thing for me. Like, if this is going to be 5 seasons, then I agree with the people who commented that season 5 needs to be, like, a wrap-up. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to wrap up the present-day stuff. And that's fine, because it's like, because if we want to shift to the past stuff, I like Sophie Nélisse a lot. I think she's really good. She was an early standout for me as well, and we had already seen her in this movie called The Kid Detective, which is really good.
Also, this is a thankless role, what they're asking her to do. It is a
thankless role. If I have to see that smug, self-righteous smirk on her beautiful face again... I hate her. And she's so mean to Melissa. What the fuck?
And that's one of the things that I'm a little bit glad that the show is like in world acknowledging, that they're just flat out acknowledging that Shauna is the villain.
Yeah. Especially because it does feel like it took a long time to get there. Like I was not
We've all suspected for a little while.
Yeah, but I was not reading her as a villain for like the entire first 2 seasons. I was like, she was put in a terrible position. She was in this horrible situation. She did what she had to do. And now I'm like, no, she liked it a lot. And she made it be worse than it needed to be.
And Melanie has such a way of hand waving, of just like brushing things off or explaining things away.
Which I loved actually in this episode too, when they all basically, Melissa gets away, but her gas tank is empty. So she gets to a certain place, and it's that same road in Southern Virginia, apparently, where Ty and Van and Misty are coming from the hospital to go meet Shauna at Melissa's house. And so, which they don't realize it's going to be Melissa, but then Misty sees Melissa on the side of the road. They end up taking her back to the house, and it was so smart. She closed the flue.
I was curious.
That was incredible.
I was curious what was happening.
I thought it was, I guess it must have been a gas fireplace because I thought it was going to be smoke, but it ended up being carbon monoxide. Regardless, I really liked that. But once they get back and they're all like talking or whatever, and Shauna, this is the first time that it's sounded straight up nanners, what Shauna is saying, where she was like, she's the one that sent the tape, and so she's obviously the one that left the phone, and so she's obviously the one that cut my brakes, and so she's obviously the one that locked me in the freezer. And meanwhile, Melissa has just been like quietly living her life with her wife and their kids. And Misty finally—
Not my fault you're so obsessed with me.
Yeah. And so Misty finally is like, Jesus Christ, Shauna, I'm the one that did the freezer.
Which I called that.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be the brakes, but I was like, at least one of these is Misty.
But it's like, it was like she didn't even 100% like physically do it. She just was like, I could have warned you. It's been broken for
you
months.
Were being such
but
an
you were
asshole.
being such an asshole. I thought some time in the freezer could cool you off. That was truly incredible. And so I'm really glad about that. And I can't
remember if I said it on camera, but I said it when we were watching, where I was like, Christina Ricci has been carrying this season.
Carrying. I it would have been way too expensive, but I'm like actually so disappointed we can't go to the evening with Christina Ricci next week.
Oh.
So they're playing now and then at our local film festival, and she's coming to do an evening with, but it would have been like—
You get to watch the movie and then do a Q&A.
And then if you get a VIP ticket, there's a meet and greet after, but it would have been like $700 for two of us. And it's also the same night as the Kylie Minogue concert.
I was gonna say I would pay that.
Yeah, no, I would.
It's the Kylie Minogue part that I cannot.
So I'm really disappointed because I would love to go and be like, listen, man, you are carrying this season of Yellowjackets and we love you so much for it.
She's so wonderful. And I've been seeing, she's been doing press and stuff for Yellowjackets and all that. And it's just been reminding me of like, what a treasure trove, like what a wealth her career is.
Oh my God.
Because I mean, I weirdly watched, and at this point, I guess it was like 10 years ago, but remember they did that Lizzie Borden movie on Lifetime?
It was
and then made it a show?
Wasn't it Kristen Stewart? Or Evan Rachel Wood or something?
Clea Duvall.
Clea Duvall!
But it was Christina Ricci and Clea
Same
Duvall.
vibe.
And then that girl who played Cinderella Once Upon a Time, Jessie Scram, maybe?
Sure, yeah.
She was like an actress from the big city, but she was also maybe a prostitute, and they fought on the stairs. It was amazing.
The same thing.
But no, I remember when that was happening, where I was like, Christina Ricci, isn't this beneath you?
No.
And then I was like, is anything ever really beneath Christina Ricci?
Because also, way back when it came out, I watched that movie Penelope with her and James McAvoy, where she's got the pig nose. I mean, I think she's fantastic. Like, no notes on Christina Ricci's career. Also, I've watched every single episode of Ally McBeal, and her stuff is amazing.
Is she on Ally McBeal? I didn't
For a
know
little
that.
while, towards the end. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That show had a lot of people. That kind of
really did.
Came and launched. I guess it was like a springboard for them, but
I was talking about Melissa and
crazy Shauna.
Well,
sounded.
yeah, and so yes, so she just sounded straight up bananas during all of this stuff, and she's just like, and so everybody is kind of looking at her like, what are you talking about? And so when Misty admits that she did that thing, I'm like, your house of cards has completely crumbled when you take one of these things away. Because it's like the four things is kind of a coincidence, but also nobody will let Melissa explain what she was trying to do. And they are all also grossed out that she married Hannah's daughter. And I'm like, I have zero problem with this.
There's also apparently something that I keep forgetting, but there was a letter with the tape.
Yes.
That Callie intercepted.
Yeah.
And that has not played off.
The letter has not surfaced. I don't know. It would be such a late game turnaround for Callie to have been nefariously messing with something at this point.
I'm afraid we're going that direction.
I wouldn't like
that.
It. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. So my thing is like maybe Lottie stole the note somehow because she was there around a similar time
I hope we're not going. I hope that this whole, like, who killed Lottie, it was Callie thing, because they share the same DNA. And then
like that.
Misty
Metaphorical DNA.
Yeah.
Oh, the DNA under...
Yeah.
Because Shauna and... Okay. I thought you were saying Callie and Lottie share DNA, and I was like, they sure don't. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I think is happening there, and also... And I feel like this is going to sound more damning than I mean it. I don't know that I care. Like,
who killed her? I do. I feel like we need to know just because we need to know. At this point, I would not be shocked if it was just Dark Ty and we didn't know that yet because Van brought real Ty back in this episode. She managed to do that.
I mean, for now, isn't it pretty...
I don't know.
Wishy-washy, like...
It seems like it used to be a little bit more wishy-washy, but this one, Dark Tai has been in control for, like, basically the whole season. So, I'm not sure.
Which, I mean, you called with the nails. That was a good call.
Especially because in the last episode, she was picking off all the diamonds. Things mean stuff.
How do you feel? How do you feel about losing Van?
I'm very sad because I really like Lauren Ambrose, like, a lot. But...
She hasn't really done anything this season. I mean, I know that she is largely the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And I know we like her because, of course, they're like the grand romance of the show. And we and the audience likes Liv, Houston, and all that. But again, I feel like she was the girlfriend. Like she was kind of tacked on in a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bummed because it doesn't feel like she really got to do much, which sucks. And I did like the scene with Liv and Lauren on the plane because Adult Van was like, you told me I was a hero. Like, what? I wouldn't have done this if I knew this is how it was going to end. And she just was like, you brought back the love of your life. Like, that's the heroic thing that you did, which makes me feel like the Tai thing is gonna stick.
I mean, I would hope, but like I said, she's just switched so effortlessly, and I guess at least the way that I remember, I have not been going back and rewatching every season.
Well, it's like she was doing it was like she was asleep. It was only happening when she was asleep,
or passing a mirror or something. Like, or turned her head quickly.
It didn't. So she didn't fully switch those times. Sure. But yeah, because like in season 1, when Sammy was scared of her, it was because she was like in the middle of the night eating dirt outside
in the tree,
window, outside his window. So
it was a halt the projector moment. But when Misty was talking about how she had the literal receipts that Shauna was in New York, and Shauna was like, I was getting the cat, and Misty literally goes, like, I believe this tale of two cats, and I was like,
kitties.
It was right there.
Come on, Misty.
But also, what is Walter? What is he doing? What's he doing? He's doing something.
I don't know. But Misty found...
I like watching it, but...
Misty found something on the phone.
Yeah, but didn't he... I feel like he...
planted something? I don't know. Maybe...
The thing with that helicopter was so funny. Because what was the word she used?
This is a little... not audacious. It was an E word,
Yeah,
I think.
It was an E word.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll go with audacious. She was like, I don't know, is it a little bit audacious? And he was like, oh, good. I thought you were going to think it was audacious.
I thought you might have thought that, but I decided to do it anyway. So first of all, I loved his sweater. I love his house. I don't think I want to be drinking anything he gave me. And in addition to that, okay, so I kind of think he's doing something, but I also think he just kind of wants to be on Misty's good side. So I
think his end game is just
being with
her, like,
because
wooing
that's the
her.
other thing too, is if he was really like planting something and doing something nefarious, I don't think he would have left her alone with the phone when he went to go put chocolate shavings on the drink. But then I start playing 3D chess in my head, and I'm like, am I picking this one because you told me not to, or am I picking this one because you want me to pick that one?
Because I mean, we started this season with him being like, your friends suck. Why are you wasting so much time trying to be with these people?
But then again, he addressed that again in this episode. He was like, I know you didn't like it when I said that, but I do think that when it comes to them, you have some blind spots. And she was like, I think you're right. So I don't know, really. I'm having a hard time deciding, basically, what Walter's deal is. I mean, regardless, it's absolutely spectacular to just like have Elijah Wood show up.
I think the male presences are nice.
Yes.
Because this is a very female show, as it should be, as is right.
Yeah.
But it has been nice. I'm a little bit bummed that there's not going to be more of Joel McHale. I really thought that he could or should be into the next season.
Yeah. Okay. So let's shift to the past then, because they're not leaving. I got to a point, I had forgotten to really quick that Christina Ricci and Elijah would have worked together before they're both in the ice storm, which is a really good movie. I was thinking while we were watching this episode, I was like, when they were kind of in factions, I was like, do you know what would be interesting actually is if they did get rescued at separate times, because we only saw the four of them get off the plane.
That's one of the things I've been trying to touch on, and I hadn't had the language or known how to explain it, but I'm like, even though we're spending so much time with the modern day characters, it's very slice of life. Like, it's only in these moments, and we have no, like, we've only seen a handful of flashbacks, so it's like the timeline is wide open. Like, it feels like it wouldn't be or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But this whole Melissa thing proves that anything, and like, we could be dealing with adult Aquila, for all next season. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't take bets on that one. I don't think she's doing it. She literally said in this episode, I hope the wilderness takes me first. Because they all are, like, or like half of them are like, I can't do another winter. Like, this is horrible. And that's the thing that's so interesting to me. And
did you finish what you were saying? I interrupted you. You were talking about the two, they could have been rescued at different times.
Oh, that was basically all. We just like only saw some of them come like out of the room and onto the plane in the first or second season. I can never remember when it was, but yeah, that was pretty much it. But so they put Cody and Hannah in the animal pen. They take their shoes. Shauna just feels like she's being vindictive.
She's enjoying it.
It's gross. It's so gross. It's really hard to watch. It's really gross. They've got them in there. Natalie basically gets Mari, because there's like a Natalie faction that wants to leave and then like a Shauna faction that wants to stay, or that she has forced into saying they want to stay, because even Jen's not on her side anymore. Jen was with the other ones, and Jen's the other hunter. And so she basically, Natalie gets Mari to take Hannah like way out in the woods, and she's like, I'm gonna give you this knife. I want you to cut yourself free, cut Cody free, and come with us. We're gonna try to leave tonight. So then Melissa has that talk with Hannah, and she's just like being nice. She's just being regular nice. And Hannah's like, I have a daughter, like all this stuff, whatever. And Shauna gets a huge bug up her ass about it. And that creates this rift between them where Melissa literally was like, why can't you just be a nice person? Like, it's sort of like why don't you give money to homeless people? And it's like, because they might spend it on drugs. And it's like, okay, you still did a thing that like, your intentions were still good. Like, just making conversation with this person who witnessed you cannibalizing your coach and is being shockingly cool about it.
Well, and also, because like I said, I think she was with Edwin or whatever. Like, I think they were.
Yeah, they were together.
That is not coming up.
No.
It's not factoring in to anybody's decision-making process.
Yeah. Well, Shauna's just being such a bitch about it. And Melissa is like, I don't understand why you can't just be nice. So she moves out of her hut, which is so funny. The like traumatized lesbian.
Teenage lesbian.
So funny. And so that was really great. I get what Hannah
did. I think it was way too soon.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. It's not just, we're big Joel McHale fans.
Yes, yeah.
And so it's not just that. Also, he looked really good.
So good. You should watch Animal Control. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
I'm not just mad that he's not on the show anymore. I think it was stupid. I think that he was far too valuable of an asset for them, like 4 different ways.
Well, yeah, because he could have helped hunt. He also, but he also would have been the biggest mouth to feed.
Sure.
He's like 6'4",
and he could have easily
overpowered someone.
Presumably.
Yeah.
He would have been a challenge.
But again,
but it's not even them that did it. Like, for the fact that it was Hannah that turned on him so quickly. And I mean, I guess this is maybe where the whole Edwin trauma could come in. But I'm like, I feel like it would be difficult for a normal person to stab somebody in the face. And
it's the face part.
I don't think that enough. I don't think that enough time had passed. Yeah. I don't think that enough trauma, and sure, a bunch,
a lot of trauma,
a bunch. But I don't think it was brittle enough to snap. And she just
Yeah. And she was like, I want to join you.
Yeah. And
so Natalie
the talk in the fandom is like, ooh, is she trying to like play along, or is she playing a survival game? And I'm like, they're playing it like she's drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that didn't read survival game to me.
Like, again, if anything, I don't know. It felt premature.
I agree.
It felt very.
I agree, for sure. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of talk basically about like how they're going to survive the winter, and like,
well, not enough
for sure.
Natalie's the only one
who seems to give a shit. And the thing for me that really got me, and it's the same thing that she said last week, is Ty was like, we can't go back with all these loose ends because what's going to happen? This is going to follow us for the rest of our lives. And then cutting between that and the present day stuff, I'm like, it's following you anyway. It's following you worse now than if you had left when you had the chance, I feel like. Which is what we've been saying. Like, every next step is another step too far. You know?
Yeah.
You can excuse so many things.
Like, they are sprinting past the point of no return.
Because I feel like that's the thing, is like, you even could excuse the Edwin thing. Mm-hmm. We were crazy. We like, it was an interloper. We didn't know what was happening.
They were tantric.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. they were quite literally.
But there's but you can just explain that so many different ways.
What is it, like religious psychosis or like?
You can just explain it so many ways. Like, we've been out there for over a year. We're scared. We're hungry. Mm-hmm. We're cold, and then there was this interloper.
And Lottie is mentally ill.
Okay.
Like,
did she walk on water in this episode? Is that what we're doing? Is that what she did?
I mean,
she was standing on that trap, right?
I mean, I kind of thought, I was like, okay, Courtney Eaton weighs like 80 pounds. Well, so there's a way that maybe Travis hadn't fully like rigged this to the necessary.
Yeah. But I also was like, it's a good thing we know they both made it out of the wilderness, because otherwise this is like such a gambit from Travis.
But this is a place where the jumping around in the two time periods doesn't work for me, because that moment would be way more impactful for me if I didn't know where Lottie ends up.
Yeah.
And not even dead. Like, the dead part isn't exactly it, but like in a pseudo successful cult, like it just was like, oh, it takes the oomph out of it.
I get it.
Like, if I was just watching this chronologically, that would have blown my mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I like the notion that Travis was
trying to kill her,
seemingly willing to do that.
Yeah.
But again, also knowing that he's dead and that we don't even really get to spend time with him.
That's a huge bummer. I feel like they killed Travis way too early. I feel like Travis was killed like way too earliest.
I'm all here for like I keep saying the women part is my favorite part, but I am trying to get another boy in here. I'm like, because
it's really interesting, because and I think it's because this was created by a woman, at least partially. I think there's a woman, and I think a trans woman, mm-hmm. and I think a gay man, mm-hmm. all involved in the writing. I think that's why the men are good characters. Mm. Like, because it's obviously about the female characters, but the male characters are well-rounded also. And it goes back to the thing we were talking about with Jeff.
Well, and I found Travis to be very interesting this season, because like I said, I mean, he's been behaving the way that typically a female character would under these circumstances. Right. And that's always interesting.
And notice how aside from the first time when they got drunk and they were having that like hunt or whatever, he has never been threatened with sexual violence. Mm-hmm. And that appeared to be a one-off. Mm-hmm. And also, nobody actually followed through. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I find that very interesting, too. And nobody seemed really sexually intrigued by Cody.
Yeah, I think because we touched on this last week. I think he might have just been too old.
Sorry, Joel.
I mean,
not for me.
Like a tree.
Oh God. Okay. What else we got? Oh, the other big thing is Van went through all of the like machinery to try to repair the sat phone. That was interesting. She went and tried to find a bunch of stuff. Then Misty found it, and she was like, "Oh, I've seen this before." And she went and found the transponder. And when Natalie was crying because it started to fucking snow,
That was so good.
So good. She saw Misty running around and she followed Misty and saw the transponder. So I feel like at least Natalie then will know that Misty or
That
it
still
was
not going to know that
broken.
she sabotaged it.
But how else would she know it was there?
She could have found it broken. But the point that she's withholding information that would be very high on the value scale.
Yeah, well, I actually don't think it would at this point. I don't think that enough people would be mad enough at Misty now at this point. So I think Natalie just might try to help her fix the sat phone, if I had to guess. But we've got the pit. Travis set up the pit. It's got the spikes on the bottom. He's turning it into a trap. It was for Lottie, and then she walked on water. Pull 30 Seconds to Mars.
I was literally oh.
No, Jared Leto feels very litigious. I don't think we should put that in here if we want to monetize this video.
I don't know. He's on a redemption arc, I think.
He's running a cult in South America, I think. Or like some island.
Is that still?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight this fight.
So I think that's then...
I don't think I can win this fight tonight.
You definitely can't. I think that's mostly it then. Van is very unfortunately dead. I loved the way that it was like projected like a movie for her, like watching the whole thing in the plane.
I did appreciate the sort of cavalier nature.
Yeah.
Where she was sort of like, that's it. And then she was like, yeah. I mean, sometimes that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
I love Van. I like young Van because we love Liv, like we've talked about before, and I really thought that Lauren Ambrose did a really good job.
I don't know that I would call it a victory lap, but it was like a really good showing for Lauren Ambrose.
Yeah, I agree completely. And then also Melissa is in the wind. She like stabbed Van and then ran away.
I am interested in both Melissa and Hilary Swank. I am glad that we're presumably getting more. I wish it wasn't like this because I feel like that's just going to put more division from them. And I don't know if I think that's what the show needs is like a human villain in that sense.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that Shauna is the real human villain.
I guess I'll have to watch and see how
in addition to that, Will and I talked about it a little bit, and it's like I can only for so long watch adult Van actively dying of metastatic cancer before we're like, come on.
And at least now Ty is not going to keep killing innocent bystanders.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, I do think that is largely it. Really, really, I do want to say good work from Jenna Burgess, who plays young Melissa. I feel like we haven't talked enough about how actually good she is. She's like really hitting all the bases.
I also think it's funny how quickly Mari became my favorite. She didn't have like a lot, but I'm like, oh, Mari.
Well, now it's kind of like, no, you should hate Shauna. Like, no, you're justified now.
You were onto something.
But yeah, I still love it. So when we'll be back. Oh yeah, I do. I still love it. It's like you said, it's like even if the story's not 100% checking for me, watching these like
I still laugh. Like I still
women,
I still enjoy watching them interact. So it's
but that's the main thing. It's like watching these like 15 women just like at the top of their game delivering even mediocre or bad material.
I think that there are several shows, and obviously one of the most immediate comparisons, as we've done several times, is Lost, where it's like the show kind of did itself a disservice by starting so strong.
Yeah.
Like season 1 was so good, it sort of set this precedent.
Yeah.
That it's like.
Well, again, I feel like if we are looking at this like it's a 5-season arc, then this is the darkest. Like this is, like season 2 almost, or the beginning of this season was the calm before the storm, and we are about to like really get down there. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still liking it. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be back next week for the last one. Bye.